I'm not gonna actually repeat what I said there. I said I couldn't find the paper.
It's okay.
But because it's Mother's Day and I didn't wanna just focus on just my mother. So, but, I was thinking a lot about this, and I picked a passage, the Bible's filled with a lot of, strong men and women. But in particular, I wanted to focus on a couple of passages. As you know, one of the main mother I wanted to speak about, and this has to do with fathers too, because mothers aren't always just mothers. Some people have no fathers in their life, and so people act like mothers. They do both roles, which isn't what God intended, but they have to adjust to life as it is. And one of these people is the mother of Moses. And the passage I picked was from Exodus chapter 1. It says here, in verse 2 to 3, it says, "And when the woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw that he was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got him a wicker basket and opened it in tar and pitch. Then she put the child into it and set him among the reeds, the bank of the Nile." I picked this passage because I was reading about her. Yeah, I didn't know her name. I had to figure that out. And this is an amazing woman. And not only that, God is so wonderful because he made this woman, Pharaoh's daughter and the sister of Moses, to put in the Nile when Pharaoh was going to kill all the boys, little baby boys, because he was like being too populated and too strong, and so they put a yoke of slavery on them. And so this God in his providence knew that he was special, and his mom knew it. And you know why? It wasn't because the reason is because it's the faith of her mom, not just her faith, but her faith in action. She perceived what was going to happen to Moses, and so she made a way for Pharaoh's daughter to raise him. And to think of that, she asked a midwife, a slave girl, pay her to nurse him, and she did, not knowing that was the mother. I mean, how do you usually see a child just like you? That's the mother, okay. But can you imagine that? And for me, it's really home to me because I was most of the one who passed away, my mother passed away last week, my adopted mother, and she was the one that raised me. And but I also had a birth mother that was named Ruth, which brings me another woman in the Bible, which was Naomi and Ruth. Naomi was a woman who was, she was a widower, and she had her son, 2 sons, and they died. And Ruth married one of her sons, and they died. But both Naomi and Ruth were both really strong women who encouraged each other, and especially Naomi. She didn't let Ruth go back to Moab, but she let her stay with her, and Ruth blessed her by taking care of her in old age. So mothers do so much. And as Rick said last week about, children, we're supposed to obey our mothers and fathers for that matter. And I want to encourage you guys that, wherever you find yourself with your mother, just really celebrate them. And I want to leave you with one thing. I just realized was from Proverbs 31. And Pastor reminded me, oh yeah. So in Proverbs 31, there's a really good description of a mother and 3 children. Let me get to really quick. One more minute. In verse 31, it says, why? I'm in Psalms 31. That's why I'm looking for Proverbs. It says here, in 21, she's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She makes coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. And she makes her linen, the wrong verse. I'm sorry. Yes, well, she is a woman of faith, and she, her hands grasp the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. She stretches out her hands to the needy, and Her husband is known for the gates. When she sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them. She opens her mouth in wisdom in verse 26, and the teaching of her kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband also, and he praises her, saying, many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all. And that's true. Mothers are never tired, and let's live in faith. It's so important that mothers, that you teach your children by faith in God, because there's so many things that take us away from God. We teach the world, and the world is the opposite of what, it's really hard to raise any children in this world, but keeping them godly and raising them up. And the Bible is true. When you raise up a child in the way you go, you will not depart the way, or she will not depart the way. And examples here, all these mothers here are here in church. Their mothers, their daughters, their sisters, and all these are great examples for us men to step up to and be. If you don't have a mother, be like a mother to your son or your daughter or your sister or your brother. And lastly, one more passage, I'm sorry. Jesus in John, he said, when he's on the cross, Jesus said, look, behold your mother. And he said, behold your son. And John took upon that, whom Jesus loved, to take care of Jesus' mother, Mary. And I can go on and on about that, but I won't. But I want to encourage you that really appreciate the woman in your life, whether it's your mother or your sister. I've had several motherly figures besides the one that passed away. But I'm grateful for her, even though she wasn't a believer. She had believer tendencies, and I pray that she could talk to God. She's more agnostic, so when you have the time, while they're alive, celebrate your mothers and your sisters.